They don't give you a heads up when life decides to just split you in two. It doesn't knock on your door or ask if you're ready for it. It just flat out hits you. And when that happens, most folks completely fall apart. They break down, start crying, run away, and desperately seek comfort. But not you. Not if you're aiming to become a force to be reckoned with. Not if you want to rise to the top without having to ask for permission. See, Machiavelli wasn't talking to those who were living the good life. He was speaking to those who had been broken down, betrayed, and tossed aside, because that's when the real game kicks off. When life breaks you, it's watching closely to see what you'll do next. You want to truly know who you are? Then let everything crumble. Let the money disappear. Let people turn their backs on you. Let the future look completely uncertain. You'll find out who you are in the middle of that storm. And if your mind is weak, you'll just wallow in self-pity. But if your mind is sharp, alert, and detached, you'll evolve into something greater. Pain isn't something to be afraid of. It's a learning experience. It separates those who are fragile from those who are forged in fire. And if you allow it, pain will help you build a mind that absolutely nothing can break ever again. This world doesn't care about how you're feeling. It only cares about what you ultimately become. When people leave you in the dark, don't start screaming. Sit there in silence. Analyze the situation. Watch your thoughts. Dissect your emotions. Figure out exactly where your weakness lies. Then starve it out. Don't reach outward for help. Reach inward, because once you build a mind that simply doesn't break under pressure, you'll become someone they can never control ever again. You're not here to be universally liked. You're not here to stay soft and delicate. You're here to become dangerous to anything that has ever tried to break you down. If you're feeling that shift happening inside you, I want you to leave a comment saying this right now. Pain sharpens my power. Write it down. Lock it in your mind. This is how we get started. Number 1. Weak minds crave comfort. Strong minds crave control. When most people get hurt, they immediately look for comfort, distractions, and temporary escapes. They run to their friends, to loud noises, or to addictions in order to get away from what's really going on inside their head. But here's the cold hard truth. Comfort is the enemy of growth. And that's exactly what the world wants from you. A mind that's too addicted to ease and comfort will never rise to any real power. If you want to be untouchable, you have to rewire how your brain responds to pain. Machiavelli would tell you that control is the ultimate form of power. But it doesn't start with controlling others. It starts with controlling your own reactions. You've been trained to numb yourself to things. Scrolling endlessly, overeating, placing blame on others. Also, you never have to face the real battle that's raging inside. But the one who rules his own mind is the one who owns the world. While others are chasing pleasure, you should be training your focus. While they're seeking reassurance, you should be sitting with discomfort. While they're panicking, you should be planning. That's not being heartless. That's being dominant over the only thing that truly matters, your own psychology. People are going to call you cold when you stop reacting emotionally to things. Let them say what they want. They only say that because they can no longer manipulate you. Your silence will scare them. Your indifference will offend them. But you don't need their understanding. You need your mind to obey your will. You don't get there by being soft and easygoing. You get there by facing your darkest thoughts head on and refusing to flinch. This is where most people break down. But not you. Not anymore. If you're ready to train your mind to operate beyond emotion, beyond weakness, beyond the need for comfort, leave a comment right now saying this: my control is my revenge. Make it known. Say less. Exert more power. Number 2. Break the emotion. Build the edge. You were never weak because life hurt you. You became weak because you allowed emotion to hijack your judgment. You handed over your mental power to feeling, to chaos. And the second you did that, you became easy prey. Understand this. Pain is inevitable. But how you interpret it is completely your choice. And in power psychology, the one who controls the meaning of things controls absolutely everything. Life will break your body. But if it breaks your mind, then you were never truly ready to begin with. And that's a truth that most people run from. You have to unlearn the belief that reacting emotionally makes you authentic. It doesn't. It makes you predictable. The world is watching you, studying you, and if your reactions are automatic, then you're already owned. They know exactly how to hurt you. They know which words will trigger you. They know how to bait your anger, your sadness, and your need for validation. And every single time you respond in the same predictable way, you're confirming that you're still not free. So, what's the move? You become emotionally disciplined, not emotionless, but disciplined. You feel the heat, but you don't move unless it's a calculated move. You might cry, but only behind locked doors. You speak less, but everything you say hits like a knife. You don't waste your energy arguing with people who have already made up their minds. Why? Because your focus is sacred, and no one deserves access to your mind unless they've earned the right to be there. Machiavelli wrote that it's far safer to be feared than loved, and in psychological warfare, love makes you soft. It ties you to illusion. But fear keeps people cautious. They'll watch what they say. They'll second-guess their moves. They'll respect you, even if they don't understand you. That's the edge that you're building right now. Not just strength, psychological sharpness, control that doesn't need to yell to be felt. So the next time that life throws fire at you, don't flinch, don't break, stare it right down. You've been broken before. This time, you're going to break through. That's the difference between who you used to be and who you're becoming. If you're ready to replace emotional chaos with mental dominance, I want you to comment this right now. I feel nothing. I move with precision. Burn that line into your brain. You're not here to react. You're here to rise. Number 3. Rewrite the narrative. Or stay broken. Most people stay broken because they accept the story that life gave them. They wear their suffering like some kind of badge, hoping that someone will understand. But Machiavellian power isn't earned through pity. It's taken through mental warfare. You want to become untouchable? Then rewrite your story right now. Tear down every narrative that says you're a victim, that says you were wronged, that says life owes you something. Life owes you absolutely nothing. But it will give you power if you prove that you're ruthless enough to take it. Your trauma is not your personality. Your pain is not your identity. Stop calling it your truth. It was just a phase. A hit. A test. Now destroy it. You're not here to tell the world what happened to you. You're here to show the world who you became because of it. People are going to try to remind you of your past. Let them do it. Just make sure that the version of you that they're trying to talk to doesn't even exist anymore. That's how you control the narrative. By killing off the version of yourself that stayed broken. Machiavelli understood that perception is far more powerful than reality. So when you speak, make your words cut deep. When you walk, carry silence like a weapon. When they doubt you, don't explain yourself. Just exceed their expectations. And when life hits you again, as it inevitably will, you won't crumble. You'll calculate your next move. You'll adapt to the situation. You'll use it to your advantage. Because a man who has been trained in pain becomes fluent in strategy. There will be nights when your mind feels like your worst enemy. You'll question absolutely everything. You'll want to just disappear. And in that moment, you're going to have one single choice: collapse or construct. Collapse into weakness, or construct your mental empire. You don't need more hope. You need more control. The mind doesn't respect motivation. It respects discipline. Feed it the truth and train it to obey, even under intense pressure. So here's the truth that you need to etch in blood. You are not the damaged version of your past. You are the weapon that version created. Say it with power. I killed the old me. I walk as the weapon. Comment it right now. If that switch just flipped inside you, then let the world keep scrolling. You're building something that they'll never be able to touch ever again. Number 4. Kill attachment. Build inner power. Attachment is the most silent killer of mental power. You don't see it coming at first. It feels warm and fuzzy. It feels like love, loyalty, and hope. But beneath the surface, attachment turns your strength into chains. You wait around. You chase after people. You compromise your values. And you bend your standards just to keep people, places, and possibilities that were never meant to stay in your life to begin with. And that's the very first crack in your mental armor. Caring way too much about things that don't care even a little bit about you. Machiavelli didn't build his power by clinging to things. He built it by watching, calculating, and detaching himself when the time was right. And if you want to train your mind to withstand life's inevitable betrayals, you need to study this principle deeply. Never attach your peace of mind to anything external. Not to people, not to outcomes, not even to who you think you're supposed to be. Because the moment that something controls how you feel, it controls you. And a controlled man is a weak man. You want to become dangerous? Then become emotionally independent. Master the art of showing up calm and collected while chaos is swirling all around you. People are going to wonder why you don't react, why you don't beg, and why you don't flinch. That's when you know that the transformation is working. Your silence becomes unsettling. Your absence becomes deafening. Your detachment becomes your dominance. Because while the rest of the world is panicking, you stay composed, not because you don't feel anything, but because you no longer need anything from them. Every single time that you detach yourself, you reclaim your power. Every time that you stop explaining yourself, you sharpen your focus. Every time that you don't react, you earn respect. And every time that you walk away, you remind the world that you were never meant to be owned. You were meant to be observed from a distance. Understand this fundamental truth. Being unbothered is not coldness. It's control. And in Machiavellian warfare, control is absolutely everything. Now they're going to try to guilt you. They're going to say that you've changed, that you don't care about anything anymore, that you've become selfish. Let them say whatever they want to say. The truth is, you've finally stopped playing the role of the emotional servant. You've stopped bleeding for people who never even noticed that you were wounded. You've stopped shrinking yourself down so that others could feel taller. And now that you've decided to choose power over approval, the very same people who used to take advantage of your kindness are going to try to rewrite the script. But they don't get to do that anymore. Because you see right through them now. You're clear, cold, and focused. You've spent way too long confusing attachment with loyalty. But loyalty to others means absolutely nothing if it costs you your loyalty to yourself. This is the turning point. You don't need closure. You don't need applause. You need clarity and the mental distance to execute your next move in complete silence. This is what Machiavelli would have called the supreme discipline of rulers: to act without being seen, to feel without being enslaved, and to cut ties without hesitation when necessary. So train your mind to drop anything that weakens it. Release anything that drains you. Silence anything that distracts you. You're not in this world to please others. You're here to strategically position yourself. And positioning always begins with emotional withdrawal. You have to build an internal fortress that no one else has the key to. And once you do that, the world loses its grip on you. They can talk, leave, lie, or betray you, but they will never be able to break what they cannot access. The more that you detach, the more they start to notice you. Not because you're physically gone, but because you're no longer dependent on being seen or acknowledged. Power doesn't chase after attention. Power disappears and lets absence do the damage. That's your new form of warfare. Subtle, cold, and effective. If something inside you has finally snapped, if you're ready to cut all of your emotional chains and walk with power alone, I want you to comment this right now. Attachment is weakness. I choose control. Say it. Lock it in your mind. Let the weak keep scrolling past. Because you're here to rule from within. Number 5. Isolation is where kings are forged. They're going to tell you that being alone is dangerous. That isolation is a sign of failure. That distance means that you're broken. But that's a lie that's told by those who can't stand the silence. Weak minds need constant noise. They need people around them constantly to distract them from the war that's raging inside their heads. But you're different now. You're entering a phase that most people simply won't survive. The phase of chosen isolation. Not loneliness, but solitude. And in that solitude, you will build something unshakable: your mind. This is the moment when the world gets quiet and your thoughts get incredibly loud. Every fear, every insecurity, and every regret will surface. This isn't an attack, it's an audit. This is where Machiavelli thrived. He observed, plotted, and sharpened his mind in the darkness while others were playing in the light. Because that's exactly what isolation gives you. A space that's free from illusion. You begin to see clearly who you really are, what broke you in the past, and what needs to be burned away in order for you to rise. Most people run from this process. They fill the silence with music, people, and constant scrolling, anything to escape their own reflection. But you're going to sit in that silence and completely dominate it. You're going to listen to your mind scream, and you won't even flinch. You're going to hear old beliefs begging to stay alive, and you're going to kill them off one by one. This isn't healing, it's transformation. And transformation is never pretty. It's brutal, it's cold, but it's real. This is where you rewrite the code. You stop thinking like a servant and start thinking like a strategist. You detach from emotional noise and attach yourself to tactical clarity. You rewire how you wake up, how you speak, and how you walk into a room. You no longer chase dopamine. You chase discipline. You no longer ask why things happen to you. You ask how you can use them to your advantage. That shift, that's your rebirth. Not soft, not spiritual, but strategic. In isolation, you're going to find every weakness trying to crawl its way back in. Old habits will whisper to you. Past relationships will try to resurrect themselves. Your doubts will disguise themselves as logic. But this is where you separate yourself from the other 99%. You don't answer the knock. You don't reopen anything that broke you in the past. You build alone. You study alone. You evolve alone. And the next time they see you, you simply won't be the same person. When a man returns from isolation, he is either more broken than ever before, or far more dangerous. There is no in-between. The weak come back needing validation. The powerful come back needing absolutely nothing from anyone. That's the path that you're currently on. You're not doing this for attention. You're doing it to reclaim your edge. The world rewards those who control themselves, not those who broadcast their healing journey. Silence becomes your gym. Loneliness becomes your weapon. And when life throws fire at you again, you won't run away. You'll walk right through it with a mind that's been trained in solitude and with eyes that don't even blink. That's what scares them so much, that you no longer need anyone else to feel whole. That you no longer share your plans with them. That you no longer beg for their understanding. Because now you've tasted what true power really feels like. Freedom from the world's approval. Machiavelli wrote his sharpest strategies all alone. He understood that influence isn't built in crowds. It's built in the shadows. And so must you. Stop trying to fix your mind in public. Stop seeking answers from people who don't even know themselves. Go inward. Go dark. Let your silence cook your next move. And when you return, don't explain yourself. Don't announce anything. Just execute your plan flawlessly. The ones who ghosted you, doubted you, and played games with you, they won't even know how to react. Because you're going to come back with no emotion, no needs, and no dependence, just calm. Brutal precision. That's what happens when you fully embrace isolation. You don't just become a better version of your old self. You become someone that they never could have even imagined. So, I'm going to ask you this. Are you ready to disappear from everything that distracts you and reappear as everything that they fear? If the answer is yes, then comment this right now. I train in silence. I return with power. Let them keep talking. You're done explaining yourself. You're just getting started. Number 6. Turn pain into precision. Think like a tactician. Pain is the greatest intelligence test that life gives you. Not school, not books, not degrees, but raw pain. The kind that breaks your routine, bends your ego, and cuts your illusions wide open. And in that chaos, the weak beg for comfort. But the future rulers, they go quiet. They stop feeling and start calculating. They look at pain like a message, like a puzzle, like a warning shot from the universe saying, adapt now, or be erased. If you're still reacting to pain emotionally, then you haven't understood it yet. Pain is data. It shows you exactly where you're exposed. It shows you what they can use against you. It reveals who you depended on, who you overestimated, and where your defenses were weak. This is where you stop seeing pain as your enemy and start using it like a scalpel. You dissect it carefully. You sit with it. You ask yourself, why did this hit me so hard? And the answer always comes back to one single thing. You let your mind fall asleep. Machiavelli would tell you, never let peace lull you into softness. The world is not a safe place. It's a board of moods, traps, and consequences. And when you treat life like a battlefield, you begin to act like a tactician. Pain stops being a bad thing. It becomes feedback. Your heartbreak becomes data. Your failures become map coordinates. And your betrayals become a list of vulnerabilities that you need to seal shut immediately. While others are collapsing under the weight of their emotions, you start crafting responses, not reactions. Responses. Because a response is a product of strategy. It's timed perfectly. It's chosen carefully. It's cold. That's real power. You see, most people are playing checkers with their pain. Jumping way too fast, way too loud, and way too desperately. But you play chess. You stop asking, why me? And you start asking, where can this pain position me long term? That's the Machiavellian mindset. Cold, clear, and focused. Every single time that life stabs you, don't just bleed all over the place. Analyze the situation. What did it expose about you? What weakness in your system made it even possible? What blind spot allowed them to get close to you? What habit left your energy scattered all over the place? Pain isn't just an alert. It's a blueprint, but only if you're ruthless enough to look at it without even flinching. And here's where your power multiplies exponentially. When you begin to predict pain, you stop walking right into the same traps over and over again. You see the pattern before it even repeats itself. You read people before they even open their mouths. That's not trauma. That's tactical memory. It's your nervous system saying, I've seen this move before. We're not falling for it again. This is the birth of intuition. Sharpened by experience and filtered through logic. You no longer just feel your way through life. You observe everything, and from those observations, you calculate your next move. That's what makes you so terrifying to other people. But strategy isn't just what you do to others. It's how you treat yourself as well. You wake up with a protocol in place. You don't let random thoughts set your mood for the day. You don't let emotion dictate your decisions. You sit still, you breathe deeply, and you decide what the day demands of you. Do you need to be calm, cold, assertive, silent, or aggressive? Strategic people never walk into situations unarmed. And that weapon that you carry isn't in your hand, it's in your mind. You begin to filter absolutely everything: conversations, relationships, and habits. You stop talking for validation. You start speaking with intention. You stop showing up just to be liked by others. You start entering spaces with presence. And every time that someone tests you, you don't bark. You observe. You don't argue. You document everything. You don't react emotionally. You strategically reposition yourself. That's the kind of man that life fears the most. The one who doesn't just survive pain, but uses it to refine his sharpness. You walk differently. You think ahead. You smile less. But when you do smile, it actually means something. You don't need to be loud. Your silence becomes a warning to others. That's the kind of energy that changes rooms without even saying a single word. You've been taught to feel your feelings. Forget that. Feel your strategy. Study your patterns. Rebuild your responses. Emotion is just a signal, not a command. It's not here to rule over you. It's here to guide you into deeper logic, into presence, and into precision. And if you learn to stay calm under fire, they'll never see your next move coming. That's what they fear the most. Not the man who explodes in anger, but the man who calculates his moves in silence. Machiavelli understood something that the world seems to have forgotten. That strategy is the only true power. Charm fades. Emotions fluctuate wildly. But strategy outlasts them all. It's how the weak flip the script on the powerful. It's how the broken rewrite their outcomes. And now that's your new identity, not just stronger, but sharper, not just healed, but calculated, not just nice, but unreadable. So from this point forward, stop praying for less pain in your life. Train your mind to extract all of the value that's hidden inside it. That's how you win in this world. You don't rise to the top by being the loudest person in the room. You rise by being the one who knows how to move without being moved by others. And if you're ready to turn pain into real, dangerous, strategic power, I want you to comment this right now. I no longer react. I reposition. Write it down. Own it completely. Move in silence. Now let the weak keep screaming and complaining. You're working on your next move. Number 7. Become emotionally immune. Kill their control over you. Let's get one thing perfectly straight. The world doesn't destroy you with weapons. It destroys you with expectations, with pressure, and with emotional bait. You're told to be nice when you should be silent, to forgive when you should simply walk away, to explain yourself when you should just disappear. And every single time that you comply with those expectations, you lose a little piece of yourself. That's how control works in this world, not with brute force, but with emotion. But you're not playing that game anymore. You're done bleeding for people who are sharpening the knife behind your back. This is where you begin to build your emotional immunity. Not numbness, but immunity. The difference between the two is this: numbness avoids, while immunity absorbs the impact and remains unaffected. That's the power that you're building right now. You don't let their words pierce you. You don't let their absence shake you. You don't let their opinions override your own standards. You hear what they say. You see what they do. But it doesn't reach your core. Why is that? Because you've reinforced the walls inside of your mind. And nothing that isn't the absolute truth gets through. The weak give their energy away like it's absolutely nothing. One single insult, and they spiral out of control. One ghosted message, and they lose all self-respect. One setback in life, and they collapse into a victim mentality. But Machiavelli would tell you, a ruler must be unshakable. Not because he's hardened, but because he's supremely focused. You simply can't control your empire if you can't control your own emotions. You can't lead others effectively if anyone can destabilize you with a few careless words. And you most definitely can't protect your mind if you keep handing out access to it like it costs absolutely nothing. You have to carefully audit absolutely everything that touches your energy, every conversation, every environment, and every person. You must ask yourself, does this strengthen me, or does this scatter me all over the place? And the second that you feel yourself shrinking, doubting yourself, or hesitating, you need to cut it off immediately, emotionally, strategically, and quietly. This isn't about getting revenge on anyone. This is about self-preservation. They don't even need to know that you're done with them. They just need to feel the void where your emotional investment used to live. You're not here to chase clarity from people who actually enjoy confusing you. You're not here to keep proving your worth to people who benefit from making you doubt yourself. Your self-respect is no longer up for negotiation. You know exactly who you are now. And that version of you doesn't ask twice, doesn't chase after anyone, and doesn't beg for anything. It's a version of you that walks away so silently that people start to wonder if they ever truly had access to you at all. This is what makes you so terrifying to others, that you're no longer reachable through manipulation. That they can't predict your reactions anymore. That you respond with calm, not chaos. You don't clap back. You don't rant and rave. You don't argue with anyone. You vanish emotionally first, and physically later. And when they go looking for the version of you that used to play their games, they'll find nothing but emptiness. That's real power. That's your new weapon. Absence loaded with presence. You must build a standard for yourself that's so high that anyone who brings inconsistency, disrespect, or emotional confusion into your life will self-destruct before they can even reach your core. Not because you're actively attacking them, but because you're emotional. Clarity is like a mirror reflecting back to people who they truly are. And most folks can't stand what they see staring back, especially when that reflection isn't softened by your sympathy anymore. So, let them call you aloof. Let them say you change. They're actually right. You have changed. You've moved beyond the version of yourself that needed everyone to like you. That felt the need to over-explain things. That just tolerated everything. You've built up an immunity to anything that drains your energy. And now they can sense it. That coldness they feel. It's not hate, it's peace. That silence they hear. It's not distance. It's a form of protection. You're no longer trying to be understood. You're just trying to not be bothered. Machiavelli once said that a good way to judge a ruler's intelligence is to look at the people they surround themselves with. So, ask yourself, who gets access to your world? Who still has emotional power over you? Who do you let into your life even after they've messed with your head a dozen times? That's your audit, your assessment, that's your cleanup mission. And when it's done, you'll stand taller, sharper, and more formidable than ever before. Because there's hardly anything more powerful than someone who's learned how to protect their inner self. Not with aggression, not with revenge, but with distance, discipline, and detachment. You don't have to shout for respect. You live in a way that disrespect can't even get close to you. And when life tries to test you again, it won't find the openings it used to. You've sealed up all the cracks. You've burned those bridges. And what's left is a mind that's immune to everything that used to break it. So, I'll ask you this. Are you still just reacting? Or are you in control? Are you still hurting over the same old stories? Or are you rewriting them? Are you still giving emotional power to people who don't deserve it? Or have you cut the cord? If you're done being emotionally available to anything that weakens you, then say this now. My peace is locked. No one gets in. Let the world keep trying to reach the old you. That door is closed for good. You've entered a state of psychological control now. And once you get here, there's no going back. Number 8. Weaponize your presence. Command attention without saying a word. Powerful people don't talk a lot. They don't feel the need to explain themselves. They don't argue in public. They move in silence. But their presence speaks volumes. More than words ever could. That's not arrogance, that's being calibrated. They know the landscape they're walking on. They know they're being watched. They know that perception shapes reality. And they understand this. The less you say, the more control you maintain. You don't need to raise your voice to be heard. You need to project an energy that makes people feel your presence without them even knowing why. That's what Machiavelli meant when he wrote that rulers need to appear strong, even when they're not, because in the game of power, perception always beats truth. And now you train for this. To become unreadable, calm, cold, controlled, a presence so composed that others feel exposed around you. Not because you're doing anything, but because they can't figure you out. Your silence becomes like a mirror. People project their guilt, their fears, their intentions onto you, and you just stay quiet. You let them reveal themselves, while you reveal nothing. That's how you win without even lifting a finger. By being the one who doesn't need to speak to change the atmosphere. You've seen it before. A room changes when a certain person walks in. The energy shifts. Conversations change. People adjust themselves. That's not magic, that's presence. And presence is built in solitude, in discipline, in quiet self-mastery. It's built when you stop chasing approval, when you walk with calm certainty in who you are and who you're not. This is where your true power begins. Not in force, but in the refusal to overexpress. Weak people overcompensate. They talk too much, brag too loud, over-explain things. That's just insecurity in disguise. But you're becoming something rarer. A person who can sit still in a storm. Who doesn't flinch when insulted. Who doesn't react because they're always thinking ahead. You're not interested in being liked anymore. You're interested in being felt. That's the difference. Liked people are available, soft, and flexible. Felt people are unpredictable, self-contained, and respected from a distance. You don't beg for attention, you remove it. And the moment you withdraw, they panic. They feel it because silence from a person with power is louder than 100 empty voices. Machiavelli would tell you that the most feared people in history weren't always the loudest. They were the most deliberate. They didn't announce their plans, they just carried them out. They didn't seek revenge with a lot of noise, they let their absence rearrange the room. That's what you're learning now, to replace performance with presence. To replace explanation with observation. To walk into places like your energy is a valuable currency because it is. It is. If they don't respect your presence, make them feel your absence. If they talk over you, go silent. If they challenge you, respond with action, not noise. This is the new form of war, psychological, invisible, lethal. You don't need to dominate with aggression. You dominate by being untouchable. The one who doesn't blink. The one who walks away without needing to justify why. The one who never begs to be seen but is always noticed. But don't get it wrong. This kind of power isn't for the weak. It requires brutal self-control. You have to kill the need to prove yourself. You have to bury the urge to defend your name every time it's mentioned. You have to train your face to stay still when they lie, provoke, or try to expose you. That's when you win, not when you clap back, but when you give them nothing, no reaction, no access, no emotion, just a calm, cold face that says, I saw it, I calculated it, and it wasn't even worth my breath. You become dangerous when you stop reacting, when your silence forces people to confront themselves, when your presence makes them cautious with their words. That's how respect is built, not with demands, but with a psychological contrast between what they expect from you and what they actually get. If they expect you to argue and you stay silent, that's power. If they expect you to chase and you vanish, that's power. If they expect you to fold and you rise stronger, that's real, calculated power. They won't say it, but they'll feel it, and they'll adjust. This is what being feared without being cruel looks like. It's not about hurting people, it's about carrying yourself in a way that says, I don't need you, I don't trust you, and I don't explain myself to you. That alone terrifies people because most can't survive without attention. Most can't breathe without validation. But you're teaching yourself to thrive in silence. And that makes you a threat in every room you enter. So, from this day forward, let your presence speak for you. Don't explain your worth. Become so focused, so emotionally disciplined, and so unreadable that they feel it before you even speak. You don't owe the world your words. You owe yourself your power. If you're ready to become that, then say this now. My presence is my power. My silence is my strike. Number 9. The unbreakable mind. Cold, clear, untouchable. You've felt the betrayal. You've endured the silence. You've sat alone in the dark with thoughts that almost consumed you. And yet, you're still here, stronger, quieter, colder, not because life got easier, but because you finally understood that the world doesn't reward softness. It rewards the mind that refuses to die, even when everything else does. This is the moment you become something else, not a survivor, not a victim, but a weapon, a presence, a mind that doesn't flinch when it's tested because it has been tested 1,000 times in silence. And every time it didn't break, it recalculated. That's what Machiavelli meant when he said that people must either be feared or crushed. Because power doesn't exist in half measures. It doesn't belong to the emotional. It doesn't respond to the hopeful. It bows only to those who train their minds like an assassin trains their blade, cold, sharp, and always ready. This final stage is where most people turn back. They miss the old comfort, the noise, the validation, but not you. You don't miss the past because you've burned that bridge. You've seen what being soft gets you: overlooked, used, forgotten. You've seen what over-explaining does. It makes people ignore you even more. You've seen what reacting emotionally brings: weakness. You've outgrown all of it. And now you don't look back, you build forward. The unbreakable mind isn't born through hope. It's built through design, through choice, through ritual. Every morning you choose to stay sharp. Every decision is a strategic move. Every response is calculated. You stop chasing outcomes, you build leverage. You stop giving access, you raise the price. You stop proving your worth. You live like someone who doesn't need to ask for validation. When life hits you now, you don't panic, you pause. You don't collapse, you adjust. You don't seek comfort, you seek control. That's the difference between the old you and the new version that's emerging. The old you needed things to go right. This new you knows how to win even when everything goes wrong. Because the game isn't emotional anymore. It's psychological. It's strategic. It's war. And your mind is the battlefield. So, you walk differently now. Not with arrogance, but with power. You speak less, but when you do, people listen. You no longer try to fit into rooms. You own the space with your presence. You no longer explain your silence. You wear it like armor. That's the mark of someone who's been through the fire. Someone who stopped waiting to be understood and started becoming impossible to ignore. Machiavelli would have called this state invincibility through perception. The moment people realize they can't control your mind, they start respecting you differently. They stop testing you. They stop wasting your time because everything about your presence communicates one thing: this person is untouchable. Not because they fight, but because they no longer bleed for the world. The mind you've trained can't be seduced by attention anymore. It can't be shaken by betrayal. It can't be lured back into old patterns with shallow promises. It sees through manipulation. It remains calm under pressure. It thinks 5 moves ahead. It trusts nothing easily. And yet it fears nothing completely. That is a mind made for war. That is a mind that doesn't fold. It watches. It waits. And it strikes only when necessary. You didn't get here by accident. You got here because life tried to break you. And you used every broken piece as fuel. Every betrayal as a blueprint. Every disappointment as a sharpening stone. That's the kind of power no one can take because it wasn't given by the world. It was built in silence alone, step by step. And now you lead, not from behind a mask, not from a place of noise, but from depth, from clarity, from cold understanding. You don't entertain the irrelevant. You don't emotionally invest in chaos. You don't give warnings, your absence says enough. You don't flex. Your energy makes people rethink their tone before they even speak. This is the final state, not emotional detachment for defense, but psychological clarity for dominance. You've stopped reacting to life, you've started running it. You've trained your mind to be strong when life breaks you. And that right there is Machiavelli's coldest law. He who controls his mind controls the world. So, I'll leave you with this final truth. You are no longer rebuilding, you are reprogramming. And the person you're becoming doesn't apologize for being calculated. They don't explain their coldness. They don't shrink for anyone's comfort. They don't seek permission, they build position. That's the energy that rises to the top. That's the mindset that no loss, no betrayal, no chaos can destroy. If this series has carved a new reality into you, then let the world know. Drop this in the comments. I am untouchable now. I own my mind. That's the final signal that you've arrived. That you're done being broken. That you've stopped begging and started building. Now go quietly, and let your next move make the noise.